Hello coin collectors and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we're going to look at the notorious nickel from 1950 and talk about why the 1950D is such an expensive nickel. And let's start with the year 1950. And according to Coin Week and a number of other publications, in 1950 the United States was stuck in a depression, or not a depression, but certainly a post-war recession, which had lasted for 3 years. And part of that happens is after a war like World War II, they've ramped up all the economy, everybody comes back home, and then sometimes you get a little bit of a slide after a war. And in 1950, we're in the middle of that slide. So the U.S. Mint decided to cut back on how many nickels it made. In 1949, they made 60.6 million at Philadelphia and 36.5 million at Denver. In 1950, instead of 60.6 million, which they had made at Philadelphia they made 9.8 million. So they went from 60 plus million to less than 10 million at Philadelphia. But at Denver, it was even more drastic than that. The Denver Mint in 1950, they only made 2.6 million nickels, which is a number today would just shock people, because 2.6 million is less than they make of the San Francisco Mint nickels these days, and those are the special proof nickels. So this is the 1950 here. If we flip it over, we see it says E pluribus unum on the top, Monticello underneath, 5 cents here, and United States of America here. And what we want to look at is way over here on the side, and what we'd like to see is a D. But we don't, so we know this one's from the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint, again, they made 9.8 million. So what's this coin worth? Maybe 50 cents, 35 to 50 cents for a Philadelphia Mint 1950. What would it be worth if it had a D here? Even in this condition, probably $5 or more. Why is it notorious? Well, one of the things we'll note on here, of course, there's no steps here at all. So if you're doing this and saying, okay, we're going to determine the grade of this coin by the steps, you know that this is going to be a very, very low graded coin. Well, in 1950, when coin sellers started seeing that there were only 2.6 million, they started to hoard them. And when they started to hoard them, they started also to advertise them at the same time. And so in 1950, 1951, 1952, there were huge numbers of ads for these coins, going sometimes as much as $35 or $40 for a coin that was essentially a year old. And by the late 1960s, according to Coin Week, they had fallen down to about $20 a coin. What happened was there was a huge bubble, and then of course they went way down. But the trick is that even though there was a huge bubble, and even though they went way down, and even though they're probably only worth 10 or more dollars right now in regular shape, they're still worth 75 or more dollars for proof 65, because there just weren't that many made. So if you find the 1950D in a 65 or mint MS, well, in a proof 65, it's worth $75. In an MS 65, it's worth 25 or more dollars. And when you look through the MS 65s, you'll note that the 1951 MS 65 is worth $35, and the 1950 MS 65 is only worth $25. And you go, well, if it's so rare, or $28, why is it not worth as much as the 1951? And it turns out in 1951, nobody hoarded them, nobody collected them, and there just weren't many MS65s saved. So if you're looking for a coin and you're looking for one that got into regular circulation, go for the 1951 Philly or the 1952 Philly. Those are both worth $35 in MS65, simply because nobody hoarded them in those years. All right, well, that's pretty much all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section.